Anthony Brown and Group Therapy are the voices behind this chart-topping tune. It's simply called Worth. Now, your music, the song Worth, has been #1?
It has.
For
now,
a few weeks?
For a couple weeks, which is surprising to me. I was shocked. It's actually my first #1.
Really?
Yeah. Testimony was great. It never got to #1. It probably got to #3, I think. So when my radio rep called me and said it was #1, I was like, you gotta be kidding. And it has been there for a couple weeks.
Nice. Tell us about the song. What's the story behind it?
Man, you know, the song is so simple, you know, and I think when I wrote it, I never thought, because it's such a simple song, that it would go and translate so far. But I wrote it in communion service at my church. I was literally sitting in communion at First Baptist Church of Glenarden, which is my church. Pastor Jenkins was talking, and we were doing communion. And I started thinking about the whole concept that Jesus, the Son of God, died for my sins, that he thought I was worth that. And I took out my iPad and started writing, you know, typing, you thought I was worth saving. And literally 4 lines came out and that was it. So I sung it at my church probably a month later just to test it out. And the response was so overwhelming that I knew I gotta record this, you know? And I just thought it was so simple and so minuscule, but obviously it's resonated with a lot of people.
Love the song as
Thank
well.
you. Thanks.
What have people been saying to you about it?
I get a lot of emails that really touch my heart. I'm talking about this very reluctantly because it does create emotion in me, but to know that there are people out there who struggle with their identity, they struggle with knowing that they're worth anything. And I think society makes people feel like they can never live up to a certain standard or become whatever that standard is. And to hear that the song, those words, are resonating with people in a way where they're like, no, I know that I'm worth something. I know that God created me for a purpose. It means so much to me. I wrote it, you know, like I said, in my church, and to know that it's gone so far away out of this country and just across the world, for me, just, it blows my mind.
This may be his first #1 single, but the Baltimore native and classically trained pianist isn't new to music.
I grew up a pastor's kid, so I grew up in church all of my life. Started playing when I was 3 years old, and took my first minister of music job when I was 12, teaching a bunch of adults.
So you say at 12?
At 12 years old, I'm up there, you know, on the piano teaching a bunch of adults. And I'm like, who is this kid? But it's always been my passion, always been my desire to use the gift that God gave me. I saw myself doing Disney. That's what I wanted to be. So I'm like, you know, Lord, I'm gonna take you, me, we're going over to Disney, we're gonna do The Lion King. That's what I wanted to do. You know, and I saw those characters and the songs, that's my style, I love it. And so it wasn't this. I definitely saw myself more Broadway and Disney, but you know, God had a plan.
How did the path begin this way? So you're thinking Broadway and so forth. How does the path push you here?
Well, I'm a servant by nature, and so there are different artists who I love, namely this lady named Marette Brown Clark, who is, she's like my mom, she's my heart. And she was doing a project, and I said, Mom, you know, so I called her, I wrote a song that I think I want you to hear. And we were driving to a concert. She was gonna be in concert with Richard Smallwood, and I really wanted to go because I'm a humongous Richard Smallwood fan. And I said, I have this song, I want you to hear it. She said, okay. And so I'm driving with her, no track, no music, and I just say, I know the odds look stacked against you, and it seems there's no way out. And I'm singing the song, It Ain't Over, and she just starts crying.
So just know, it ain't over.
The song rose to #1 for Marette Brown Clark, and Anthony would go on to write hits for gospel greats like Donnie McClurkin, Donald Lawrence, Stephen Hurd, and Vashawn Mitchell, who actually encouraged Brown to record his first project, Testimony.
I sent Vashawn Testimony when I finished recording it. And I said, I'm gonna release it at my church. I just want you to hear it, tell me what you think. He called me immediately and he said, you cannot release that song at your church. I said, why not?
It's home.
Right, exactly. He's like, no, that song needs to be heard by way more people than you have access to. I'm like, Vashawn, I've tried this, that, and the third. He said, what if I can find a situation for you that you really like? I said, okay, you know. And that night he called me with, who is now my label president, on the phone. And 2 weeks later, I signed a deal.
And that was the public birth of the group the world now knows as Anthony Brown and Group Therapy.
Now, the group behind your voice,
Yeah.
Group Therapy, the AP stands for something. Tell me about how this group started and...
Yeah. The AP is always capitalized in therapy, and it's because the group used to be called Answered Prayers. They've been with me for 15 years. We met in college, and it wasn't like, Lord, send me a group, you know what I mean? It was like I was in the practice room one day playing some songs. I'm like, hey, you, come here, sing this song. And that's literally what happened. 15 years later, we're still doing it. You, and you, come here and sing this song. We never signed any contracts. They are literally my family. And when I moved to California, they moved to California. Nobody knows this, so I'm telling you something super exclusive. I moved to California. They all quit their jobs, and they moved to California with me and moved into my one-bedroom apartment. So we have one bedroom, all the guys are in the living room, all the girls are in the bedroom. And that's where the unit, the tightness, the closeness of group therapy comes from, because we literally have been to the backside of the mountain and back together.
So what can we expect next? What's going to happen?
Wow, you never know. I have big dreams, and doing music is one of those things, but I would love to take music to another place. In my mind, I want to fuse something that looks like Cirque du Soleil goes gospel. I see it being on a stage. I see it being theatrical and performance-driven, but taking the gospel to that arena, I think opens us up to so many more people who may never step foot in the church. And so if I have my way next year, I'll be doing something like that.